if Ben Stokes wins the Ashes at the end of the year, will he go down as the greatest England captain of all time?
Oh no, I think that's a bit extreme. He's fantastic. He's a great leader. Leadership is so important in the changing room and out on the field, and he's got it in spades. But England have had some wonderful captains down the years.
So what would be your top three?
Right
top
there.
three England captains?
Yeah, top three England captains. Michael Vaughan would be up there, I think.
Okay.
Plum Warner.
And sort of about Warner, Jardine, you go back, Tony Gregg from my era was fantastic to play with.
Oh, Brearley always gets a mention.
Mike Brearley wrote books on it, The Art of Captaincy.
Was Lord Hawke ever a captain?
He must have been. He had a super name, Lord Hawke. He's got to be captain. If you're called Lord, you've got to be captain.
Who was the guy that captained the first test against South Africa? Charles Aubrey Smith.
Charles Aubrey Smith.
Aubrey Smith. He went on to be a Hollywood actor, didn't he?
C. Aubrey Smith.
Incredible career.
And they wrote songs about it.
Stokes has still got time.
But Ben Stokes is, the leadership qualities of the guy. Up and at him, the team is contented, tough, got a real toughness about him. The way that they play the cricket is in contrast to, or against T20 cricket. That's what they're trying to be. If T20 cricket is sexy, we're going to be sexy too. Test match cricket.
Can I swing his question? Tactically, is he in the top three captains of all time?
Top three, I mean, it's a big statement, top three captain.
But
He's very, very good. He's very good.
Brearley was obviously, you know, we know the stories about Brearley of having the helmets at cover to try and get Alan Lamb to drive through the covers off the spinners and, you know, all that sort of stuff. We know Jardine spent weeks writing letters and looking at old film and everything.
But Mike Brearley was tough. He was an academic, of course, and tactically astute, but he was a tough guy as well, of which Ben Stokes is. There's no doubt about that.
I think Stokesy could take him in a fight, though.
He probably could. He wouldn't be the philosopher that Mike Brearley is. But there have been some super captains all down the ages, going back to W.G. Grape. He had some gates named after him, a bit of a cheat as well, but don't worry about that. You can have a set of gates. Will Ben Stokes have some gates? He probably will. Alex Stewart's got some.
Yeah.
Do you have him in the top three? I know you don't go quite back as far.
I would say if he was to... I mean, look, how many England captains have won an Ashes overseas? There's not...
Strauss, Vaughan.
Yeah. Vaughan didn't.
No, Strauss.
Strauss did.
Brearley did, didn't
Gatting.
he?
Yeah, Gatting. He only won two, didn't he?
Gatting. Well,
Illingworth?
Elite 1971. 1971.
I think that's all of them, isn't it?
So, you know...
It's already in rare air at that point.
Right, so he's in rare air.
When
you then factor in the whole Bazball thing, and I know it grinds people's gears, but I think that England have brought a freshness to Test cricket.
Do you think Ben Stokes is morally the best captain they've had?
No. But I do think if he goes and wins an Ashes, I think he will be mentioned in the same breath as the greatest England captains.
Oh, he will be.
So
he is now.
So
he's
top three? Top three?
Raymond Illingworth was, tactically astute, good leader of men. Mike Brearley, Ben Stokes.
If you were to look at some of the wins that have occurred under Stokes, and there have been some defeats as well.
Yeah.
That win against Pakistan at Rawalpindi, first test in 2022, I think is up there with one of the most remarkable achievements I've ever seen from a captain. The Bazball summer of 2022 will live long in the memory.
But there's also losing in Pakistan and now losing, and not now losing, previously losing in New Zealand, a series that they probably should have won.
But even that, they drew that series.
Yeah,
but even that, there is an interest.
But that's the moral argument again. If you're talking about whether he's a good captain or not, eventually we're going to look at wins and losses, aren't we?
But even that, England played 17 tests in 2024 and they won 9 and lost 8.
Enormous
and he said, no draws in there.
Yeah, he's created enormous interest.
Outside of the game, he has created enormous interest, which again I think has to be factored in.
But Bazball, Bizball, Bosball, call it whatever you want. I go back to late 1990s, a fantastic Australia team, a fabulous team. And you just had to talk to Warney. Spoke to Warney for hours on end. And forget Bazball, aggressive cricket, Australia at that time, Matthew Hayden, Michael Slater, all the great players that they had, Gilchrist at 7, we're going to play aggressive cricket. We're going to go 4 and over to get bowling to take 20 wickets because we got McGrath and we got Ward. Get your runs quickly. That's what Bazball is. Forget Bazball or whatever you want to call it. They've identified that we need to play, and other countries have followed suit, aggressive cricket. Play aggressive cricket to take your 20 wickets. These matches are finishing in 3 and 4 days.
One of the things that has impressed me about Stokes, and you mentioned that great Australian side, but it's one thing to do it with Hayden in his side and all of the 11 that we all know. And it's one thing to do it with the West Indies side. And it's one thing to do it with your Michael Vaughan as a captain, not to denigrate his achievements. But if you've got Flintoff, Harmison, Hoggard and Jones, that makes your job a lot easier.
Jallo.
If you've got, and the King of Spain, if you've got Ian Botham in your side and Bob Willis, it makes your job a lot easier. Similarly, if you've got Stuart Broad and Jimmy Anderson, you're bowling in England. But look at the players Stokes has brought through this year alone. And they may not... this may have been their year and they may, disappear off. But these players coming in, they're not household names, but they might be in 12 months' time. Bryden Cass, Jamie Smith, Jacob Bethel, all these players, we wouldn't have even, they could walk down the canteen, you wouldn't even see them.
Well, we come back to India. Somebody's got to make a call on your experienced players. We're going to start again. That's what England have done.
And look at India at the start of the year. Bashir. You tell me England captains in the past that have sung a tune out of a player that's got 7 first-class wickets, whatever. Tom Hartley. These players that have been brought into that side, I would say that's a bit different. Being a captain of that side, Zach Crawley and Ben Duckett opening up, they don't make any sense at all.
Can I ask you a question? Who's a better captain, Heath Streak or Steve Waugh?
Well, exactly.
Because Heath Streak got a lot out of a very, very ordinary side, right?
Exactly.
And Steve Waugh made a great side win a little bit more.
Yeah.
We don't really know, do we? And I think, I want to go back to, you said before, it's very easy to do, it's very easy in the late 90s for Australia to go, let's just score quicker because we've got Hayden and Langer and
Damien Martin, who never gets a mention, were fantastic players, fabulous players.
They had all those guys.
Gilchrist at 7, we're through him now. Who's coming in now?
Yeah.
Adam Gilchrist, all right.
So it was easy, and it's the same with the West Indies. It's a little bit overblown with the West Indies because it took a while for them to get to the 4 fast bowls. It's not like there was one game and then they changed. No. But again, at a certain point, Clive Lloyd, not saying he's not a tactical genius, but at a certain point he would have had to be an idiot to not look around and go, wait a minute.
Here's the ball.
Yeah, why not? We got these blokes in first class cricket who are bowling at 90 miles an hour and no one can hit them. Why don't we pick a bunch of them, right?
So I was there because he was playing for us at Lancashire when we went through that. Yeah. When he went through that, hang on. Why do I need Inshan Ali and Jumadine?
Yeah.
Why do I need them? I've got this bloke who's 6'9", he's 6'8", they bowl like the wind, we'll just play the 4 of them. Viv can bowl a bit of this, that and the other, and we'll frighten the living daylights out of everybody.
So I think if you're Clive Lloyd or Steve Waugh in those two areas, it's eventually it just makes sense to play that way, right? And also, if they had played another way, they still had Gordon Greenwich and Desmond Haynes and Viv Richards and Clive Lloyd and Richie Richardson and Brian Lara. And, do you know what I mean? They still would have been good.
Tell you a great line. Go on.
But England and New Zealand both made huge changes under Brendon Mcullum as a captain, then under Brendon Mcullum as a coach, to take very ordinary sides and make them far more dangerous. We don't see that much in Test cricket, and I think that is why that's why Ben Stokes has to get a lot of credit for that, because it's much harder to do it when you might fall on your face even further.
Clive Lloyd, Lancashire dressing room, me to him. I said, well, you've no balance in your team, have you? You've got these fast bowlers, but you've no balance. You ain't got a spinner. He said, we've got Garner. He's the slowest. He said, he's my variation. Joel Garner. Amazing.
Imagine that. I mean, you know what I mean? That's an embarrassment at that point, isn't it?
I mean, what did he have? A Test bowling average of 21.
21.
But for a little while, they were playing people like Bernard Julian and...
Bernard Julian.
Yeah, Bernard Julian, that's it.
Jumadine, Inshan Ali.
Yeah, and you're just like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You've got Sylvester Clarke and Wayne and Roddy and all these guys.
They couldn't get in the team.
They couldn't get in the team.
Couldn't get in.
Yeah.
Wayne Daniel couldn't get in.
Yeah. It's a bit like the old Indian one where they were like, well, we're going to pick 3 seamers and a spinner. It's like, no, you don't. Pick 2 or 3 spinners and then work it out later. That's why I respect the Ben Stokes thing a little bit more. what I have trouble with is getting really excited about a team who wins 9 matches and loses 8 and then tells me, but we didn't get any draws. I'm like, okay, no one's getting any draws, mate. There were 3 draws in Test cricket last year. You weren't the only team not to have any draws.